So, Maria, what does that mean that when she puts out her paper, it's going to say that this virus was engineered in some way, that it just didn't naturally develop in the lab or outside the lab, that the Chinese did something to make this an unusually dangerous virus?
Yeah.
It sounds to me like that's what she said.
The thought of some people, and I've seen, besides Dr. Yan, talk about I don't want to get too much in the weeds, but 2 amino acids that are sequencing out at 100%, which is abnormal. Usually when things happen in nature, you may get some percentages in the 80s, maybe even 90s. But the fact that, I believe off the top of my head, it's NR... And
whatever it is.
Yeah. I know one of them is the E protein, but anyways, these 2 proteins are at 100%, which is indicative of being man-made
or being stimulated and changed.
In manipulation,
which is something that she is willing to put into this study and let it be peer reviewed by others.
I was very happy to hear that she would be willing to meet with our Department of Justice and or whoever the proper people is to do an investigation, because we need to know the origins of this. But as I said before you got in, Rudy, whether it came from nature or it was manipulated, they still try to cover it up.
China,
the Chinese Communist Party.
It's amazing that there's such resistance to calling it the Chinese virus.
Oh, God.
Because
I don't know why. We all know.
It should be called the Chinese virus.
Even the Chinese said it started in China.
Well, it started and obviously, there's no question it started in China. And there was either an accident that occurred that released it.
Right.
And that laboratory was known for being very negligent. It had been cited numerous times for being very negligent. Or the Chinese rigged it and it escaped accidentally, or they put it out purposely.
Right.
I don't see evidence that they put it out purposefully, I guess is the right word. But there's no doubt that it comes from China,
right?
And that China lied to the world about it for a month. And the best indication of that is the Chinese restricted travel in China, but they allowed complete travel to Europe, United States, South America.
Yeah.
It's as if they were saying, if we're going to endure this and hurt our economy, we're going to make sure that you don't get ahead of us, and we're going to make sure it ruins your economy.
I don't know if it's purposeful.
It's like attacking the world.
Well, remember at that time frame, Rudy, there was a lot of things going on. We had our president working on trade deals.
Let's just remind people that the call-in number is 1-800-848-9222, 1-800-848-WABC. So go ahead.
Well, I was just thinking at that time frame, too, President Trump was working on trade deals. There was demonstrations in Hong Kong, Taiwan. Was this a measure? I guess we could go down 100 roads why, if it was done on purpose, why it was done on purpose. But we got to remember, I was sitting with some colleagues the other night and we were talking about this. Because we feel in the United States, in the medical community, we're pretty transparent. We don't always agree on things, but we try to give as much information as we can to the people. It is hard for us to comprehend that the Chinese Communist Party would do something like this or keep information. Remember, the CCP is the enemy of its own people, but the enemy of the United States. We all know, proven fact, they send spies here all the time for our intellectual property. It's espionage. This is proven. This is not a conspiracy theory. Just last year, on at least 5 different occasions, Chinese students try to get access to our military bases, and we're taking pictures. So these things happen. Governments are bad. Look at Iran. Look at North Korea.
And of course, they do business with Iran.
Right.
They do business with governments that are very, very hostile to us. But in addition to that, China, I think China did a good job of disguising just how bad they are. Everybody would think, that Russia is the biggest threat to the U.S. Or maybe Iran. Well, Iran is a threat in the sense that it's the one that actively, aggressively kills people through terrorism.
Yep.
And I'm so glad that President Trump has cut them off and isn't giving them money the way Biden and Obama were. But I mean, if you think about the country that could compete with us, the only one is really China. Russia's economy would be like a state in the United States.
Yeah, yeah.
No, seriously.
Yep.
I mean, they do. I mean, the only thing that makes Russia formidable at all is their nuclear arsenal. Without that, they're not a powerful economic force. China is a powerful economic force. That has to be understood. But that still means we've got to make sure that we're medicine independent.
Right. Yeah, I briefly
so we don't
talked
count on
about
them for
that.
medicine. We've got to change that. And
Oh,
the president
my
is
goodness.
doing that very quickly.
And you entrepreneurs out there, and bring it to rural America, please. We need you in rural America. But yeah, so much of our medications from China, India. So much of our PPE, gowns, masks come from China. We need to create all that and manufacture it here.